So, very good morning and warm welcome to the today's session. And for today's session, we have Mr. Sandeep Kumar Podar, team leader Infosys Bhubaneswar, and Mr. Biswajit, PhD research scholar from IIT Bhubaneswar, and Hare Krishna Pradhan, is a spiritual speaker, is going to deliver today's lecture about difficulties in life, how to overcome challenges and problems of life. So, with this, I'll quote one message from Sri Aurobindo, like the grace and protection are always with you when in any inner or outer difficulty or trouble. Do not allow it to oppress you. Take refuge with the divine force that protects. If you do that always with faith and sincerity, you will find something opening in you which will always remain calm and peaceful in spite of all superficial disturbances. So, with this quote from Sri Aurobindo, I will welcome Mr.
Yeah, we will start with one.
Mr. Sandeep Kumar to start the session.
Yeah. So, Rajesh, will you play Mother's music for 1 minute?
Yes.
Thanks. So, hello everyone, Vande Mataram. A very good morning to all of you. This is Sandeep, today's host. So here, welcome you all on behalf of my team, Eager to Forge Ahead group, to yet another day, the day 3 of this beautiful series of spiritual awakening, I will say, and self-introspecting program, named Growing Integrally. So I'm sure all of you have attended our last 2 sessions last week, and that must have left some positive impact on all of you, I'm sure. So today's topic is also very relevant and practical, I would say, for all of us. That is, challenges faced in our day-to-day life and how to overcome them. So to begin with, I will quote the mother's line on true spirituality, and I quote, "True spirituality is not to renounce life, but to make life perfect with the divine perfection. This is what India must show to the world now," unquote, the mother. So with this message, we clearly understand that if we don't have to, we don't have to renounce life, then whatever the problems in our daily life we are facing, be it in our office, home, or elsewhere, everywhere, the anxiety, the stress, the kind of things we are deal with, starting from the very basic common to the very complicated and difficult issues in life. What attitude we must take to face them? Is there any solution? Is there any permanent solution, I would say, for all this? Is it there? So I think this kind of questions will be, we'll try and find out the answers over the next 1 hour or so in this session. So to take us through the spiritual journey today, I will not take much time of yours. We have two beautiful persons, I would say beautiful soul rather, I would say enlightened souls, Mr. Bishwajit, who is pursuing his IIT PhD in the IIT Bhubaneswar, and Mr. Hare Krishna, who is a dedicated spiritual seeker. He has given his entire life for this purpose, spiritual purpose. So I welcome both of you, Bishwajit first, and then Hare Krishna will continue after that. So I appeal all of you to at least get relaxed and be focused at the same time, and take this golden opportunity and be part of this unforgettable spiritual journey, which I'm sure which will have a much more impact in the long run for all of us. Thank you. Bishwajit, you can continue.
Bande Mataram. Pranam to the divinity within everyone. We have already started a beautiful journey together into a world of joy and delight. In the previous sessions, the topics that were put light upon were aim of life, true happiness, and the need of the hour. But is it just enough to have the idea of our aim or the knowledge of what time demands? No, we have to live it and need to begin a journey towards the light. Since the beginning of the human civilization, man is undergoing through several challenges of life, and it seems like never ending. So in this session, we are going to put a deeper insight into the practical challenges in day-to-day life. I will request everyone to correlate the discussion with the problems we commonly encounter in our lives. We are desperately looking for a permanent solution to get rid of the heap of difficulties that comes across the path. Before entering into the matter, let's start with a beautiful message by the mother. She says, the greatest difficulty brings always the greatest victory. Is it so? A common man would definitely exclaim, how is it possible? Doesn't it seem as an absurd idea when we become breathless, getting drowned in the ocean of difficulties? So in the coming slides, let us put an effort to decode this puzzle of life. What is the difficulty? Whatever hinders in the path of satisfying ourselves or getting pleasure, we call it as a difficulty. In today's world, each of us is striving for success. However, many of us would complain, what we deserve, we are not getting. If we could not achieve what we seek for, it brings us dissatisfaction. This dissatisfaction can result into lack of confidence, mental stress, frustration, depression, and many more troubles. In our professional lives also, usually we have to face issues like ego clash, jealousy, and disharmony. How to get rid of these troubles of life? How to become emotionally stable during these difficulties? Along with this, the questions which usually strike our mind: why do always bad things happen to good people? And finally, why me? So how to face these challenges? Let us start with a lighter note. There can be three things we can identify ourselves with: a bottle, a rock, a boy. When the waves of challenge overshadow us, a bottle is really helpless. It just surrenders itself at the difficulty. It is blown away wherever the waves take it. It has no control over itself. Then comes the rock. It doesn't move even when the wave of difficulty strikes it. But how long can it resist? What if the level of difficulty overpowers the rock? Yes, it will break the rock one day. So what is the lasting solution? Why not be like a buoy? We all know buoy is an anchored float serving as a navigation mark generally used in the ocean. To whatever extent the sea waves may roar, it stays wherever it is. It adjusts its position accordingly and stays calm in such problematic situations. So whatever is the difficulty, if we keep truly quiet, the solution will come. Saying so, let us understand what those difficulties truly are. Difficulties can be looked at upon in two ways. One is we take it as a problem or danger, which is born as a reaction of the mind to the challenge. But what we term as difficulty, is it really a difficulty? Sometimes the difficulties seem to us as a big giant standing at the front, and it is mainly because we react to them with an excess of emotion. We don't look at it dispassionately. If we look at it dispassionately, we can see 90% of it is contributed because of our emotional reaction to it. In this period of corona pandemic, we are seeing number of deaths, illnesses, and a panic all around. Something within us is afraid of death, illness. What is undergoing in the mind is, no, it should not come to me. Actually, when you look at it, there are two levels at which any difficulty operates. One is outer. There is a problem which is outward. There is another which goes on inside. It is important to handle both. Putting a closer look, what we think as challenges or difficulties most of the times are because we put too much importance on ourselves, isn't it? It's the play of ego. After all, what is a bad thing? Our idea of bad thing is which are not pleasant to us, which are painful, where we suffer a loss that leads to reactions of grief, anxieties, fear, etc. Looking at it from another perspective, these bad things are a tremendous challenge to our spirit and can really open another door for us. It can open a door which can catapult one, which can take one from a static state into a higher dimension. The mother says it is good to turn a difficulty into an occasion for a new progress. So we can say another way to look it as an opportunity for progress, because only by taking these challenges and obstacles on the path of life, we end up by making progress. Within ourselves, if we can be in a certain state of equanimity, balance, no matter what life throws at us, we can make it into a wonderful possibility. Once every situation becomes a possibility, a human being can blossom into a full-fledged life. saying so, we can say there are no problems in life. Rather, there are just situations. We take an example of a classroom. There are a lot of complaints on students' misbehavior. Students are engaging in meaningless activities in classroom, which disturbs the teacher as well as the whole classroom. Gradually, a teacher loses interest in teaching. At such instances, we must not forget it is the lacuna of our whole education process starting from the childhood. The kind of education that is imparted upon a child, Sri Aurobindo says, the child is standing upon the base of a triangle with the tip on the ground. So the results can be well expected. A life of a common child is quite unsettled. Yes, all of a sudden we cannot transform the system. However, under such circumstances, we as a teacher must focus on our role. We should remember a good teacher is always respected by the students. Let us understand our role with an example. It's a story I will say. Once a sculpture of a goddess was to be installed on the top of a monument. An artist was minutely working with the tip of a cutting tool in the hair of the goddesses. A passerby stopped there and mocked at the artist. He asked, "Who can see the hair of the goddesses at such height that we are dedicatedly working upon?" The artist smiled. "I am not giving shape to the idol for showing it to others," he said. "Through this, I am giving life in the stone. A living goddess will express herself from within." Is not this the role of a teacher in the current crisis of our education system? Challenges are inevitable. Countless forces in the atmosphere that rule this world are responsible for any situation we face in life. We really need to understand those forces to come out of it. In Mahabharata, if one only sees the episode of Draupadi Vastraharan, he would wonder how much injustice she had to bear. Did she take the revenge in that very episode? No. She had to wait till the Agyatbas gets over, till the time had come to get victory over the adverse forces. And then Mahabharata war was fought and Dharmarajya was established upon earth. So what we are experiencing now is just an episode of the full play. The difficulties might overwhelm us, but the mother says to know how to wait is to put time on your side. Yes, patience, infinite patience is a prerequisite for the one who would love victory at the end. Again, the same question. How should be our inner condition in the midst of a difficulty? The mother says, never think of a difficulty. You give it strength. Sri Aurobindo, in one of his letters, says, turn your mind away from the difficulty. And he reveals the subtle truth that difficulties often increase when we keep on engaging our mind with it. Yes, we have seen in our scientific and technical research domain where there is a problem to be solved. Several times we try and try. Then a time comes when one put one's mind to rest. Then the solution comes in. So Sri Aurobindo says there is a subtle law. The more we think about the difficulties, the more it increases. The very fact that we are constantly trying to solve it, we're actually aggravating it. Whereas if we can stay quiet, many of these things, the so-called problems, will come on the way and go away. Let's take an example. Somebody comes and starts fighting. We definitely take it as a problem. We also start quarreling back. The other person raises the voice. We also raise the voice. What happens that we're actually stretching that moment. There is a beautiful story of Buddhadev relating to this. The Buddha was walking through a village. A very angry and rude young man came up and began insulting him. He bombarded all kind of rude words. However, The Buddha was not upset by these insults. Instead, he asked the young man, tell me, if you buy a gift for someone and that person doesn't take it, to whom does it belong? The young man was surprised by this strange question. He answered, obviously, it would belong to me because I bought the gift. The Buddha smiled and said, correct. And it is exactly the same with your anger. If you become angry with me and I do not get insulted, then the anger falls back on you. You are then the only one who becomes unhappy, not me. All you have done is hurt yourself. Yes, if you can just stay quiet, either walk away from there or just stay quietly, after a while finding no support from within us, the person will go away. So similarly, it applies on all planes and all levels. Many of these adverse forces, they aggravate because we all the time are thinking of how to solve it. Instead of doing that, just turn your mind away from the difficulty. There are hundreds of ways to do that. Best thing or object towards which we can turn our mind is to contemplate on just the very opposite of the nature of the difficulty. It is a technique used in Raja Yoga, which is called as substitution. That is just the opposite. You can ask why it is required. Let us take an instance of somebody who had a heart attack or severe mental stress. He will say, actually, I'm doing all the right things. I'm doing jogging. I'm eating the right things. I don't indulge in anything that will create illness. Still, I had an attack or stress. We can ask, why you are doing all those things? He will say, so that I don't fall ill. See, this is where the problem comes. We do these things because we want to ultimately not fall ill. So what is running in the undercurrent is still fear. It is still anxiety. Sometimes when people deliberately think of getting rid of something, they actually keep increasing it. Whereas if we can do these things so that we can maintain a state of balance, we can maintain a state of harmony, so that our body can become a fit instrument for the divine work. See, the whole scenario will change. Similarly, suppose we are meeting a human being in our life or facing the challenge of somebody hitting us for whatever reason. There, our thoughts should be concentrated on love. When we have the problem of illness, our thoughts should be concentrated on health. Let's take the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where there is fear of death all around. We should concentrate upon immortality. In the Savitri Mahakavya, written by Sri Aurobindo, Savitri with the dead body of Satyavan was standing in front of the Yamaraj. Still, her sole mission was to bring immortality upon earth. And finally, she achieves the victory over death with the power of love. So coming to next, the third way to face a challenge, the mother says, simply laugh at the difficulty. She says, a smile acts upon difficulties as the sun upon clouds. It disperses them. Yes, if we really learn the art of smiling at difficulties, the difficulties will vanish. Taking an example of a terrorist, what he wants to do? He wants to feel fear. Now, when people are full of fear, they try to run away. This is exactly what the terrorists want. Through this, he gets attention, he gets space in the newspaper, publicity in the media, and through this, he starts capturing the mind of people. If we really laugh at the whole absurdity of this whole thing, he will not get what he wants, means the attention and the fear from within us. Then he will be forced to change his ways. It doesn't mean you want to let him do whatever he wants to do. If a fight is required, we will fight. But instead of giving it a chance to dominate over us, the mother says, just laugh. How can we laugh? She says, laugh with the divine. So when we walk through the life with a sense of constant divine presence within us, now imagine we are walking through the divine, walking with a divine mother, and there is a problem, a big force we can imagine standing in front of us. Whatever our state will we be afraid? No, we will simply look at the divine mother and laugh. See, it takes away the strength and energy of the difficulty which tries to terrorize us. It feeds upon our fear. Fear is his food. And when he sees the person is not afraid at all, it is deprived of his food. It begins to starve and it begins to walk away from there. The moment we start looking at the divine presence within all things, behind all things, yes, we begin to laugh. And by this way, the difficulty loses its strength. So let us summarize this discussion. There are three ways usually to face any difficulty in life. First, we think this is the way of life. There is no effort from our side. We are helpless, just like the bottle. Secondly, we take it as an opportunity to progress. It can become a catalyst to take us beyond. Taking an example, there was no moon that time, the period where moon was not at all there. The earth alone was revolving very peacefully. An asteroid came rushing towards the earth and it was about to collide. Certainly, it was a difficult time for earth, a moment of struggle. But if it would not have hit earth, we could never have such a beautiful moon. See, it means all disorder in the universe is an invitation for a higher order. Each pain, struggle, and suffering, it's a passage. Based on the state of consciousness, the situations come across our life so that we can overcome our petty limits. Potentially, moving through the challenges, the soul grows. Thirdly, another thing we can propose, why can't a greater consciousness master this, master our life? Yes, if we can master it, we can conquer it. So what is the effect of a greater consciousness on us? This question can arise within us. The very thing was experimented physically by a Japanese scientist, Dr. Masaru Emoto. We all know if we freeze the water drop, water crystals are formed. So what he did, he took 2 bottles. He wrote, "You full" on one bottle and "thank you" on another. He kept the water in that condition for 24 hours. After that, he took water samples from each bottle and freeze those for crystallization. The crystals formed from the first bottle with negative word had no shape. It was completely distorted. And the crystals formed from the sample of second bottle had a beautiful symmetrical structure. When he experimented the same with the words of love and gratitude, a far more beautiful pattern came out. See, even the matter receives the higher consciousness to produce beauty of form and strength. Yes, when we get associated with a supreme power, we doesn't get weakened. Rather, our strength is multiplied. This is our true power. So let us be free from all troubles by one simple way, to take refuge in the arms of the divine. Let us think of the divine. Think of all the beautiful things we can imagine. Let us think of ideal love. Think of flawless happiness. Think of that deathless state. Think of the presence of immortal within us. Think of the divine in each atom of the existence. Think of as I am an instrument in the service of the divine. And slowly we will see all of these useless things which are occupying the mind will automatically vanish as a dream vanishes. It will fade away and we will wake up into a divine reality. So with this, I conclude my discussion. Gratitude to all of you. If we have a heart full of gratitude for the countless gifts that is bestowed upon us, the so-called difficulties starts to change miraculously. The mother says, there is nothing that gives you a joy equal to that of gratitude. You hear a bird sing, you see a lovely flower, you look at a little child, observe an act of generosity, read a beautiful sentence, look at the setting sun, anything whatever. Suddenly, this comes upon you, this kind of emotion, so deep, so intense, that the world manifests the divine, that there is something behind the world which is the divine. With this, I hand over the stage to Hare Krishna Bhai to continue the discussion of this session's topic. Gratitude to everyone again.
Yeah, thanks, Vishwajit. This is Sandeep this side. Again, before Hare Krishna starts, I'll just want to ensure to everybody that if anybody has any questions, they can put it in the question answer page, so that after Hare Krishna's discussion, we can probably take few of the questions from there. Thank you. Hare Krishna, please continue.
Okay, thank you. Om Anandamai Chaitanyamai Satyamai Parame. My dear brothers and sisters, my heartily salute to the divinity within everybody. Again, I am very much grateful to the Mother and Sri Aurobindo for giving me this opportunity for second time. It is my pleasure to be with all of you again. I again pray to the Mother and Sri Aurobindo that this session may bring the touch of the grace of the Mother and Sri Aurobindo to all of our hearts and germinate some faith in the divine grace. As we all know, today's topic of discussion is practical challenges in day-to-day life and their solution. Actually, the solution of all the problems, all the difficulties, all the challenges we are facing in our daily life is already within us. All the solutions is already within us. This means the key of all the problems we are facing in our daily life is hid or lying within us. But the problem for all human beings or all of us is we do not know how to use it or how to use that key hid within us. Because we are always searching or we are always seeking the solution from outside of ourselves. Suppose the whole world is facing now, going through a problem of coronavirus. If we will make ourselves free from the fear, then 90% of our problem will be solved automatically. And to be free from fear, the secret of to be free from fear is not in outside of us, it is within us. So there are thousands of problems in our life we are facing. There are some mental problems, vital problems, physical problems, social problem, political problem. Whatever we are facing in our life, the whole solution lies, the solution of whole problems and difficulties lies within us. Okay? And I think the greatest challenge for the whole humanity or the greatest challenge for the whole universe is to be conscious about the divinity or the divine presence within us. This is the only true and perfect solution of all our problems. Okay? Suppose if we look at Veda, Veda which comes from the Sanskrit root sound Vid. Vid means to know. Okay? And Veda means the highest knowledge. Okay? Veda means somebody says Veda means knowledge. Yes, it is knowledge, but it consists highest knowledge. Okay? From word Veda, it comes the Vidya. From Vidya, it comes Vidyalaya. So Veda means true knowledge. But according to Sri Aurobindo, there is an eternal Veda within us. And according to Sri Aurobindo, the Veda, the eternal Veda which is within us, it is in a word form. And if we concentrate more and more upon it, the petals of that word, the petals of that eternal Veda will open gradually. And automatically, we will get the strength from within us to face the problems or difficulties or challenges in our life. Okay? So if we can say in a layman language, there is a powerhouse within us, and the powerhouse is in a condensed form, which excludes the whole, which excludes and executes the whole universe. We have this potentiality already within us, but the problem is we are never concentrating upon it. We are never seeking the solution from within us. So if we look into ourselves, there is a sun hidden within us. And if once we get touch with the sun within us, then the material sun will seem us as a dim light. So, according to Swami Vivekananda, take yourself at least once in a day. Otherwise, you may meeting an excellent person in the world which is within you. So, Mother says, in your daily life, in your busy life from 24 hours, at least try to concentrate for 10 to 15 minutes within you. Okay? So this is the greatest solution, and this is the greatest powerhouse within us. And if once we can come into contact with that powerhouse, all problems will be solved smoothly. Okay? So there is a story in Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, about Nachiketa. We all may know the story of Yama and Nachiketa. When Nachiketa waited at the door of Yama for 3 days, so Yama, the lord of death, said Nachiketa to ask for 3 boons. I don't discuss about other 2s. The last boon, Yama said, you ask boon, and Nachiketa asked the last boon. The last boon Nachiketa asked, give me or save me or enlighten me with the knowledge of immortality, or please enlighten me the knowledge of self, which is within the humanity, which is within a man. Please give me that knowledge of immortality. So at that time, the Lord of Death, Yama, said, do not ask about the knowledge of self. It is because it is still now, it is a mystery even for the gods. And Yama said, in the exchange of it, you may ask the most valuable things of the world. You may choose wealth, you may choose gold, you may choose horses, you may choose elephants, you may took the delightful woman, you may demand any pleasure, you may took the chariots which is beyond the reach of mortal man, but don't ask about the immortality. Don't ask the question of self within you. So at that time, Nachiketa said, the things what you are offering me, these all are material things, and these all are temporary. These all will be faded away with the flow of time, with the flow of Kala. So I need a permanent knowledge. I need the knowledge of immortality. Okay? So here come the point of Sri Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo says that the future humanity, the age of immortality, is absolutely based on this knowledge of self within us. So if we acquire that knowledge which is within us, then we can face any challenge in our life. And according to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we can face or counter the greatest challenge of the humanity, which is not yet overcome, that is the death. We may conquer any type of, there are so many problems in our life, but there is a permanent problem still we have not yet conquered, that is the problem of death. And if we get that self-knowledge, if we could live according to that knowledge, then we can conquer death also. But these all things, if we say to a layman, or it is very difficult to believe generally, because our whole consciousness, mental, vital, physical, whole consciousness has been corrupted. It is not receiving the command, it is not receiving the influence of the presence of the divine presence within us. So Mother give here an example how if I become conscious about me, within me, then how it is helping me. So Mother says, someone was seeking to establish a contact, a conscious contact with the inner Godhead or the divine presence of the psychic being. And he was very decided that she would be busy with nothing else. That is to say, whatever she might be doing, even when she went out working, any type of work she will do. Even she went out walking in the street, her concentration was upon this. She was living in a city where there was much traffic, buses, runways, trams, etc. So to cross the road, one has to be very conscious, otherwise one would get run over. But this person had resolved that she would not come out of her concentration. So what happened one day, when she was crossing one of the big avenues with all its cars and its trams, bus, still deep in her concentration. In her seeking, she suddenly felt that a shock of an unseen arm, a shock of an unseen hand. So she jumped back and a car so a car passed just by her side. If she did not jump back, she would have been run over. So Mother says, if you conscious about the divine presence within you, if you concentrate more and more upon the divine presence within you, you can even escape from the small accidents. Okay, unseen divine hands will always help you, protect you, basing on the self-knowledge, basing on the self-power, basing on the concentration upon ourselves, which is the true being within us. So according to Mother and Sri Aurobindo, in the whole world, India is the only place in the world which still aware that something else, that physical, other than the physical matter exists. And Mother says, only India has that capacity, and only India awares that there is some supra-physical matter exists. And Mother says the other countries have quite forgotten it. According to Mother, the supra-physical world which India knows, or Mother says it is another third dimensional world. And it coexists with this physical world. And that supra-physical world is always taking the care of this physical world. And according to science, they said that supra-physical world as a dark matter. And they are saying that that dark matter, that supra-physical world, not only guiding, but only protecting, enriching this physical world. And ancient or the spiritual seekers always trying to concentrate or conscious about that supra-physical world. And Mother says, it is the mission of the whole universe. It is the mission of the whole man. Mother says the Tao of the Chinese, the Brahman of the Hindu, the laws of the Buddhist, the gods of the Christians, the Allahs of the Muslims, the truth of materialists, all are seeking towards this internal truth or moving towards the search for this divine presence within us. So this is the first part of my discussion. The more we conscious, the more we concentrate, the more we aware about the divine presence within us, automatically all the problems, all the challenges will be solved. So there is then a question arises, where and how to apply it in our daily life in a simpler way. As Vishwajit Bhai said, Mother says, smile. Try to smile always. Mother says, if you smile at your difficulties, it will act upon the difficulties as like a sun upon the clouds. It will dissolve the clouds immediately. Mother says, there is a laughter, divine laughter. Mother says, there is a divine laughter in each and every particle of this universe or at the center of all things. Here in the slide, we can say this is a microscopic slide of a grass blade. And the cells, there is in a smiling form. Okay? So Mother says there is a divine laughter in all things. Okay? So if we can connect with that smiling, Mother says it is wonderful. It dissolves every pain, every suffering, even the greatest sorrow, even the greatest physical pain. Here Mother says that there are two types of smile. One is outer smile, the another is inner smile. What is outer smile? Outer smile is always depending upon the jokes, comedies, and suppose some desire will be fulfilled, then it is totally depending upon the external things. Yes, it may be necessary sometimes, but Mother says to face the difficulties and challenges of our life, more inner smile is very necessary, and inner smile is very required to face the challenge of our life. Okay? And the inner smile always comes, the inner smile always comes depending upon the divine grace within us. The more I depend upon the divine grace, the more I depend or faith on the divine, or the more calmness within me, then I could smile inwardly. And the more I could smile inwardly, then I can face the challenges of life very easily, and the whole world became a gymnasium for me. I will not cry or I will not bother about the difficulties. I could cross away the difficulties very easily. Okay? So Mother gives very much importance to smile, smile, smile always. Mother says, if you smile at your life, the life will smile at you. Mother says, if you smile at your enemy, the enemy will, at that same moment, it will be disarmed. Okay? So this is the very important thing, to remain calm within our soul and smile from that calmness. Then we can face all the challenges of our life very easily. Okay? Then the second point Mother gives very important. That is, Mother says, speak always truth. Utter always truth. The more we speak truth, we will be very closer to the happy future. Mother says, the more you will speak truth, you will be more happy. There is a scientific research. They said that when we are lying, our bloods get contaminated, our bloods get poisoned. So the more we will speak the truth, at least our health, physical health will be remain our physical health will be remain in a balanced state. Similarly, our whole consciousness will remain in a balanced state. At the moment I am speaking a lie, according to the research, a hormone That is a hormone is a hormone will be secret within our cell and which will disharmonize all our system. So we will definitely fall in ill. So mother says, if you utter a lie, immediately your connection with the truth within yourself is cut off. So mother says, if you want to powerful and if you want to face the challenges of your life perfectly, then first try to speak always truth. Try to utter truth always. Okay? It is give and it will connect with you the universal truth or universal power. Then your life will be very easy in spite of all your difficulties. You can smile at your life. Okay? So this is the main thing or the gist I want to repeat again. So there is a powerhouse within us. The more we will connected the powerhouse within us, then we could face the challenges in our life very easily. Okay, so two things are very important. Mother says always try to smile and always try to utter truth always. Okay, these two things are very important to face the challenges of our life. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Hare Krishna, for this mesmerizing talk of yours, and you have taken us for a solid, from within we have to look how beautiful the session is, and a lot of thanks to you and Vishwajit. In the same time, I would also like to tell all others that please ask any questions if you have any. I have already received a couple of questions over here. So, Hare Krishna, I'll just read it out. You will just try and answer. Okay.
Okay.
So the first question is from Manoj. So how to detach from difficulty? Like if I am not well, so can I focus on health? Explain with practical example. He's saying. So that was his question.
Please repeat the question. Please.
Yeah. So question is how to detach from difficulty. Like if I'm not well, so how can I focus on health? Suppose his question is if I'm not well, then my focus would be on health, right? So how to tackle that situation?
Okay. So immediately it is very difficult when I am in ill health. At the same immediately to connect with the soul, it is very difficult. So before that we have to practice very much, because during physical pain, it is very difficult to conscious about the divine presence within me, because the physical to divert my consciousness from the physical pain towards the divinity within me is very difficult. Okay, so first thing is I have to practice at least 10 minutes a day, so that power will give me the support during my illness to divert my consciousness totally from the physical pain towards the divine consciousness or towards any higher consciousness. Okay, so this is the practical thing. The main practical thing is I have to practice regularly when I am fit, very fit. What in generally we are doing, we are always calling the divine when I am facing some pains. So this is not the solution. So when I am well, I must be grateful to the mother. I must be grateful to the divine, and I must concentrate more and more on the divine. Then that power will support more and more during my illness. Okay. So this is the solution. When I am ill, it will give the support. Okay.
Yes, Sir Krishna, thanks. So the second question has come. So, sir, as Guru has given importance in our mythology, but in current situation, it is quite different. So how can we need to get back the same? So probably what I interpret his question, Hare Krishna, to you is, so our ancestors and our gurus, they have given a lot of importance to mythology because they find more practical solutions over there.
Yes,
I
yes.
guess what he's asking. But in current situation, it is just not feasible for all of us to get aligned to those mythologies. Okay.
Yes.
So his question is how we can get back the same.
Okay. It is very difficult to get back, Sam, because now the time has already moved ahead. So mother says for a spiritual progress, guru is very, very necessary. Without guru, spiritual progress is impossible. But mother says if divine will be your guru, then just think about your progress. What will be the height of your progress? Okay. So we can never go back to our mythology. So I just want to suggest, if we will read the books of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, we may get some idea how and where to whom I should choose guru. Okay. So for that we can read the books of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. It will be better for all of us. Okay.
Okay. So one more question I have got in my personal WhatsApp. So the question is that death is a challenge, like we already discussed about challenges, right? So this is a very interesting question. Death is a challenge, or a whole life towards death is a challenge. So if the physical death is inevitable, then how we should take the right attitude towards death? Hare Krishna.
Okay. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo says death is only a transitional phase. Okay. We could, if we'll read more and more the books of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, Mother and Sri Aurobindo already explained it is a bad habit. Okay. It is necessary. It is a phase of necessity in the process of evolution. But in the future it will be wiped away because it will not require. Okay. Because there is a soul within our body, and the soul is what is happening. The soul is dynamic, but our body is not being able to dynamic according to soul. So there is a disharmony between our soul and our body. So we have to leave our body, and our body is dissolving. So Mother and Sri Aurobindo, after the descent of supramental consciousness, the body is preparing in the subtle layer. Okay. So when the body will be ready, it will be able to manifest all the capacity of the soul. Okay. So when the body will be ready, when it will totally receive the capacity of the soul, then there will not be necessity of death. So death will be not inevitable. Okay? So our life is a challenge, no doubt. Death is also a challenge. So Mother says, never want death. Okay. So if it will come, don't fear about death. So by this, we will never want death, or we will never fear when it will come. By these two things, we can face it very easily. Okay, not easy. With the divine, we can face it very easily. Okay. So this is the solution. We will not want it. We will not fear it. Only try to live with the divine. Then we can face the challenge of life and death very smoothly. Okay.
Thanks, Hare Krishna. One more question. This is probably the last one we'll take.
Okay.
So if we get sudden problems, then how to tackle those situations? Like many of the things we get suddenly in our life, right? So how to tackle those situation in that particular moment?
At that particular moment, Mother says, at least try to remain calm within yourself. Okay. So if you will remain calm, the strength of the problem, at least more than 50% of the strength of the problem will be vanished. Okay. So after calm, within the calmness, you will call the divine. and just wait. Then the solution will come into the silence of your mind. Okay. Then from that consciousness, you can solve any problems of the world very easily. So first remain calm, then surrender the problem to the divine, then just wait for some minutes, then the solution will flow. Okay, if you will remain silent or calm, depending upon the divine, faith on the divine, then the solution will come to you. Then easily you can handle any situation. Okay.
Okay, so the last one, Hare Krishna, I got it. One more. So we are always advised to go on this path and need to read the books and concentrate. But the interest towards reading the book is something a challenge sometimes.
Yes.
So what to do?
It is a Mother and Sri Aurobindo also give some light about it, put some lights about it. So to read a book, we have to break our mental inertia. There is a inertia in our body, in our vital, in our physical, in our mind. So if we have physical inertia, then it will not admit or not allow any new knowledge. So to read any book, I am saying about any book full of higher consciousness, any spiritual book. So we have to break our mental inertia. Okay, it is the first thing. So it will not break by overnight. I will start to read for 5 minutes, the next day for 10 minutes, then for 15 minutes. Okay, so by increasing like this, that inertia will be break slowly. Then I will feel a delight. Now, initially, I will feel a pressure, heavy pressure in my brain or in my mind to read the books. So after practicing this gradually, it will be easier to read any books, okay, any spiritual book very easily. So we have to practice.
Yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna. I think we are running out of time. So thanks everybody for this participation. This is much appreciated. You guys, have been wonderful, and you both, Biswajit and Hare Krishna, they are all inspirational and for all of us. And these things, sort of discussions, definitely will help us, going forward in our spiritual life, in our day-to-day life, in our, so-called whatever life we are living. So thanks both of you for these questions also. In the same time, so in the meantime, also I would like to take this opportunity to welcome you again tomorrow at the same time, 11 o'clock, for one more beautiful session. That just to give some glimpse that we have already covered a few of the topics like aim of the life and need of the hour, the challenges we faced. But how and from where to begin if I'll not know the self of mine, the true self, if I'll not know, then how I can face the troubles in my life. So tomorrow is that session is coming up. 4 beautiful souls, true child of the mother, will deliver tomorrow's session. So please don't miss out. Again, I'll request all of you to please join and share this invitees to others also to join the session and be a part of this spiritual journey with us.
Yeah, obviously it is a wonderful session from Mr. Sandeep, Mr. Biswajit, and obviously from Mr. Hare Krishna Bhai. The today discussion was about death and sudden problem and how to read the books. So the sudden problem, if arising, what kind of solution we will give to the sudden problem, that was asked by Mr. Mangesh Lingampalli, who is in charge HOD of our department. And the answer given by the Hare Krishna, Mr. Hare Krishna, was appreciated by him. And I would like to say some words like death is a part of life, so we cannot avoid that, and all souls are coming out of the divine. It's a part of the divine. So again, if you take the life cycle, a soul is coming out of the divine, and it will take some different lives it will take, and finally it will mix up with again divine. So that is the phases we are going through by the death. So don't fear death. Don't worried about the death. So it is it is steps towards the divine. It's the steps to get united with the divine. And so if sudden problem is arising, then we can as much as possible we have to keep quiet, and as much as possible we have to calm ourselves, and by avoiding fear from the situation, what should be happen if such situation or such condition came immediately to your life. That was point came from Mr. Hare Krishna, such as wonderful words. And reading books is a practice, like you have to practice it as much as possible, and it will yeah, it is a very difficult task to concentrate and to read the books, but you will gain the knowledge after reading the books. The knowledge which will take you to the divinity, and knowledge which will take towards to your to solve your all life problems or day-to-day problems you are facing in your life. Obviously, it is a wonderful session, and I would like to welcome our department head, Dr. Maniha Dakli, to say a few words about today's session.
Yeah, really, Mishra, it's a wonderful session. The final conclusion by you also is so awesome. So suddenly, if something happens, how to do, what to do, it's a really informative and acceptable words by you also. Because yeah, rightly said, it's nothing but keep quiet. At some time will resolve all the problems. So wonderful session. Thank you all. So thank you once again. So Mishra, anything?
Yes.
End of the
Thank
session.
you. Thank you so much, sir. Over to Vishwajit and Mr. Sandeep to conclude the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone. Devashish, especially your department head and everyone. So at the last also, I got one question from Rajnikant, sir. Probably we'll take it tomorrow, sir. And with this, we'll conclude because we are running out of time. And thank you all. Thank you, everybody. Please do join us tomorrow at 11 a.m. sharp.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, sir. Thank you once again.
Tomorrow, we'll definitely take up that question. And
माँ सोई आत्मा जाग उठी, सोई आत्मा जाग उठी, धुन मुरली की सुनते ही सारी जगत में गूंज उठी, तेरी मधुर धुन मुरली की सोई आत्मा जाग उठी, सोई आत्मा जाग उठी, धुन मुरली की सुनते ही सारी जगत में गूंज उठी, तेरी मधुर धुन मुरली की सोई आत्मा जाग उठी। राधा शक्ति के संग धरा पर उतरो मोहन तुम फिर से, श्री अरविंद में प्रीत जगा दो जन जीवन के कण कण में। राधा शक्ति के संग धरा पर उतरो मोहन तुम फिर से, श्री अरविंद में प्रीत जगा दो जन जीवन के कण कण में। अज्ञान का पर्दा हट जाएगा, शंख तुम्हारा बजते ही दूर अंधेरा हो जाए, आनंद धाम के आते ही सोई आत्मा जाग उठी, धुन मुरली की सुनते ही सारी जगत में गूंज उठी। तेरी मधुर धुन मुरली की सोई आत्मा जाग उठी। श्री अरविंद के प्रेमी मोहन प्रीत जगा दो जन जन में। श्री माँ शक्ति का हे राधे मंत्र फूक दो कण कण में। श्री अरविंद के प्रेमी मोहन प्रीत जगा दो जन जन में। श्री माँ शक्ति का हे राधे मंत्र फूक दो कण कण में। जाग उठेगी सोई धरती स्वर तुम्हारा सुनते ही। गूंजेगा जयनाद जगत में संग तुम्हारा मिलते ही। सोई आत्मा जाग उठी धुन मुरली की सुनते ही सारी जगत में गूंज उठी। तेरी मधुर धुन मुरली की सोई आत्मा जाग उठी।